So here is my SLS, Drake's SLS. Apparently I lost the sticker. I should change it to TM Drake's SLS. I guess this is a short video, but I just finished creating my first build thanks to Grok running on Windows, but the build is actually based on the Kinect's 1.0 platform, although I have seen it work on the 2.0s. And I think there's a friend of mine, we just came back from another Paracon. Actually, no, it's about a month ago. Stefan's Paracon. Impressively, I made a few new friends there and made more enemies than usual as always, but that's just generally me. I started to play around with the soccer bot that I was playing with at the LA County Fair. So there's a lot of fun stuff going on, but California is kind of dead to me right now, so I'm just trying to recoup my losses. So right now I'm focused on a few projects I want to get done tonight, but I think I'll make a little video and then create a stopping point. I really don't want to stop. But this is my prototype SLS. Biggest difference is it's got a battery pack, way probably overkill. It's a 9 amp hour battery, but it's all I had in stock at the time, and it may have been replaced once. The last one bloated, so I tossed it before it blew up. Later being the garbage collector problem. There's a charge controller circuit in there. You can barely see. That's all relay based. There is a charge regulator. I stole one of those 12 volt lithium ion battery charger because I think car alternators go up to 15, so it drops it down to like 12.7, whatever the LiPo is. Eventually, when that battery goes again, probably end of this year, to help battery discharge it, it'll probably get replaced with a LiPo battery. I've been told you can just keep charging those suckers, so as long as I have a 15 volt supply. And that's where my charging port is. I made another one of this. I do plan to make some more of them when I get a chance. I've got some more cases that I'll probably fix up, glue some SLS cameras, and maybe make a second one. I want to ask Vicky, my other friend, where she got the handle. This is an AK-45 handle. So yeah, it actually is probably the best handle I've ever had, but the one she has is a camera one that folds up. But you hit the wrong button, it unlocks, so it's got some downside. But being that it's a camera handle means you got to put a camera base, means I can put it onto a tripod. But because this thing weighs a lot, the original chassis was designed by another friend of mine, so I may have to design a better chassis. And I've seen people 3D print some really nice stuff that fits inside of those clever cases. So this is a huge, so without getting too much into the hardware of this, it is an SLS using a tablet, like most of them. They will all run on the same tablet because they're only 32-bit processes. So putting 64-bit doesn't yield much of an improvement, even though Windows does recommend it, which is kind of weird because these only have 2 gigs of RAM. Newer tablets, I'm going to try to get some new tablets this week. They'll have 4 gigs of RAM to build another one. And the reason why I want to use 4 gigs of RAM is because they recommend it, and Windows is happier, and so is Linux. Linux I can get away by using ZRAM, which supposedly shadows it just like virtual memory does in Windows, which is why it makes it so Windows can actually run on cheap hardware. But today's time, I don't know. But I will say that the Kinect's drivers that I found is a lot more reliable than the Linux drivers. So push comes to go, I'll probably use that driver more. But the Linux drivers, being that it's open source, I can publish the source code. Grok recompiled it, and I believe Vicky has the prototype software, so I haven't figured out if I want to run it on this tablet. I have to load Ubuntu on it before I continue and do some more messing around. So that puts it to show that's the hardware build out. You can kind of clearly see the battery. There's a circuit board in there that's got a bunch of relays. So when you plug in the charger, it switches everything to charge mode, all through relays and diodes, almost no semiconductor. I was suggesting to Grok last week, why don't I set up another department agent just to design the circuit, and the USB will talk to maybe a hub or a bridge controller or something that allows me to talk to other peripherals. And when the peripherals can talk, I can also add sensors and stuff. I do plan to play with BLE sometime, or Bluetooth, to try to create a sensor network that Windows can talk to and the app can sometimes detect and see. But with that being said, it's 5 minutes in, and I'm going to fire this up. You turn it on, you have to hold the relay down. Because this is a more RRL, you won't see much other than the tablet's idiot light, power light. Got to keep in mind, cheap tablets have almost nothing on it. Has 2 cameras, front camera and back camera. I don't disable any of those cameras, and Kinect doesn't come up as a standard camera anyways. unless it's on Linux. It actually did come up as a standard camera, but we can blacklist the other cameras, so it's not a big deal depending on how you set up your driver architecture or focus on specific camera IDs. So Linux was a lot more, and I think thanks to Grok I was able to get something working ahead of schedule. I didn't change any of the hardware out because software I did enough just to get by, and now thanks to Grok I can actually have a more polished product. So gonna boot this up. I might have Grok remote access into this one for additional debugging, because if you can get into SSH you can really get into a lot of stuff through the command line. And I'm kind of impressed because Linux guys always told me that, but because I'm always fixing Windows computers, it just doesn't make sense. If this fires up correctly, which it should, it has a few second delay. There it goes. It'll load, and then it'll go ahead and automatically detect the camera. If the camera is plugged in and powered up, in this case the power brick, it will fire up, and you'll have an SLS camera. You have the IR camera, so you can see at night. It's also the laser shooting out too, so that's why there's dots that follow you. You can kind of see on the screen. And there's actually a microphone, so I record the stuff in the microphone. And there's special visualizers too, so you can change what you're recording as well. The whole screen is recorded. I haven't chopped out the battery screen, but at the same time, the recording option now works on here, and there's a snapshot so you can take a picture of the screen and everything what you captured. So it'll record it onto the local drive, and if you have an SD card plug in, it'll also record it on the SD. So it solves me a lot of these problems I've been having of trying to find the recording software. I think I used Screen Recorder or something like that for 20 bucks. Worked great, but you have to make sure to fire it up before you start an investigation. So Drake's Fox is over there, because I don't detect anything. I don't know if the sensitivity is adjustable, but I was playing around with the different settings too as well. I'll have to ask to see what's broken out. All I know is the Xbox has a bunch of sensors. We ignore a lot of them. I now know what the red top, bottom, left, right means when it's trying to have trouble recognizing an object. Just kind of cool that it does that. But now I also know with the confidence level set to different tweaking, I can now determine what's really going on. So that should be pretty much for today's parameters. But this is a nice 8-minute long video that describes the SLS that I made and remade again. So I think it's more finalized. So let's see if I can maybe get some people to buy it.